the human element of DA and Monty just was not as positive as you'd like to see from a player-coach relationship. And for DA, if you've ever spoken to DA and you understand what motivates him and the things that he enjoys, I think there's a bit of harmony and buy-in that he requires from somebody who's trying to direct him and all the things that matters to him. Now, you can say it's soft. You can say he's got to be stronger than that. You can say, well, he's getting paid $30+ million a year. I totally agree with all that stuff. That's fine. But there is a human element that I do feel like at some point this season, DA, for lack of a better word, gave up. And I don't know if that's correct. Maybe there's something else that went on behind the scenes. But from my perspective, you can only take so much before you just say, you know what? I don't know if I want to be here anymore.
I hate and Jose says it, and it's no offense to you, but the mindset of coddling or pacifying, these terms that get thrown out. Some people do not respond well to tough love or to basically being ignored in some ways by their leader or whatever. I mean, we've heard all sorts of things when it comes to that. That's one element of it. And maybe, like I said, that gets him a little bit more engaged. But in the end, he's got to find the growth in his game too. So it's a two-part thing. But I don't believe in this. This is the Suns posturing to try to get better deals. If there's not a major market, and you say, well, we're going to keep him, is that all of a sudden going to create a market? No. What creates a market is him going out there and performing contrary to what some of these teams must believe about him at this point.
I do like the fact that again, there's a lot of pieces to this pie, right? The DA pie, there are multiple pieces. This is one aspect of that pie that I'm talking about. It's not the total pie. And there are levels to this, as Gerald would say, right? And so I think you need to be aware of that. And listen, the same people that have been riding DA like super hard, like there's been levels to this as well on Twitter where people are just like they're going for his soul on Twitter as opposed to just having a basketball conversation. And that's where you lose me. Those are the same people that didn't even give him the benefit of the doubt. The fucking name the day they announced his name at the podium, like they didn't want to give him that benefit of the doubt. And during the playoffs, right? As soon as the playoffs were over, well, can he keep it up the next year? Like for the finals run. And then after that, like he had a really good series against New Orleans. Well, can he keep, like there was always but. And I get it to a certain degree. I do. And this season was awful. It was not good. But even in his worst year, as you pointed out, percentages were low. Everything was low. Nothing was great. He still gave you 18 and 10. And it might be fool's gold. It might be. But I do think you're hard pressed to find a center that you're going to be able to get for a reasonable price that's going to be able to do some of the things that you're going to require that position to do with this specific team.
To be fair, though, every time somebody said but, he didn't come through and most of the time after that. But he didn't help him close out in Milwaukee. Then he had a rough time. But is he going to be able to do it again after the New Orleans series? He didn't. Well, is he going to look okay the next year in the playoffs? He wasn't. Like, so I get that people haven't bought in, but I also look at it and go, DA hasn't proven it and backed it up after that as well. Sorry, Gerald, I cut you off.
No, it's fine. I will say something that I've said before, and it's the reason why 2 years ago we were saying, is DA worth a max contract in a vacuum? No. But you probably need to give him that contract because he's coming off a finals run where he sacrificed, where he did all the little things that you wanted him to defensively, what the Suns are going to need from him now moving forward, and he wasn't rewarded. He didn't get his reward that he felt he earned by doing those things. And DA has always been the type of guy that if you put a task or an assignment in front of him, something specific, he will usually accomplish it. But you have to keep finding ways to keep him motivated. And that's the problem. And I think that's why people get upset when his effort or his performances wane. It's because you're sitting there saying, look, like, how are we supposed to keep him locked in on a night in, night out basis? And that's my concern, because whether you believe DA can be the right center for this team and win a title or not, the fact of the matter is that right now, his role offensively on an X's and O's standpoint is not going to be that much different than it's been. And it might be even less with Bradley Beal here now. So what you are relying on is for the 6 inches between his ears to clear up with a new head coach. You are relying on that human element to come through big. And I'm not going to speculate one way or another whether that's all it takes for him to flip the switch. But if you're a Suns fan and you know that your team is keeping DA, that's what you're kind of banking it all on right now. You are banking it all on Vogel being able to reach him and DA responding better to a new person in charge. And that, you know, the human element, the stuff with Monty was even worse than we thought it was, because publicly they said all the right things about, you know, being on the same page, sometimes family fights, yada, yada. And that could just be lip service. But right now, if you're the Suns and you want to win a title and you can't trade DA, you're really hoping that Vogel gets through to him, because if he doesn't, he regressed on the court in a lot of ways last season, and his role is not suddenly going to change moving forward.